This is the UR Business Network.
Hi, and welcome to the New York Real Estate Journal radio show. I'm Eric Wilson alongside the little engine that could, Rick Kaplan.
Hey, I heard that somewhere else, Eric.
Yeah, you did. I stole it from our producer, Lauren. She came up with a really good intro, so we loved it. But this show, we're going to talk about investments. And as you can probably hear now in the background, we are going to be joined by William Procida, who is the founder and president of Procida Funding and Advisors, LLC. He's had a career of over 30.
Okay, hello.
Hey, Billy, how are you?
All right, I think I'm all yours now.
Are you all set there? Because, by the way, Billy joins us on the phone. He is the he was a prestigious New York City Developer of the Year. He was the National Home Builders Pillar of the Industry Award, and he also did a one-year tutelage under Donald Trump. Thanks for joining us, Billy.
Hey, hello, folks. Good morning.
Good morning. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, I know you're doing, you do investment in small balance real estate assets class. You're about to do a summit in Washington in October. It's called the SBRE Investment Summit. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what that is?
First off, our fund does both. We do large loans from $3 to $50 million, and we do what we call small balance. Although I think it's interesting, to some people, small is big, and to some people, big is small. You know, when I talk $50 million with some people, it's small. Small balance on loans, I think now really that are between 100 and 750, let's say. Frankly, again, to the people that are getting them, that's like the biggest deal of their life. So the thing about it is, the challenge is you really have to do the same due diligence. You got to know your borrower, you got to know the asset, you know where the boogeymen are. So to keep a small balance, if you're going to try to do it on a large scale, is you got to streamline the process. And you've got First Key out there, which is a Cerberus company. You got B2R, which is a Blackstone or a Goldman company. So there's a bunch of big guys trying to make big plays in that market. The challenge is you really got to go see all the real estate. So it's hard to go see all this stuff unless you're boots on the ground. So the way we do it is we got people everywhere, and the combination of people and Skype and Google Earth, we get to see all the assets. And then by utilizing the home inspection network, which is the network typically used by realtors, we can get it down and dirty on the property condition. And it's a space that's underserved, which is why so many people are chasing it. It's a needed as a financial product, it's a needed product because we got to renovate America. I mean, it's that simple. If we don't have small balance lenders, we can't do the hard work of renovating America's inner cities. And if you know anything about our inner cities, the only way to stop crime and poverty is to put people to work renovating the neighborhood.
So, Billy, are you talking about residential, multifamily, or commercial? You know, what type of renovation?
I think most of the small balance are, and I've done a lot of speeches at some of these conferences, and these people are entrepreneurs like everybody else. They're just little. So they're looking at a building that's got a store and 2 apartments above it, or they're looking at a 2 or 4 family. And I think that's the typical product that's in that space. It's somebody buying, renovating, and flipping, or buying, renovating, and renting.
Now, I know that you have the 100-mile fund.
Yeah, our 100-mile fund, prior to launching the 100-mile fund, we tested the market. We had a fix and flip program that specialized in 500 to $1 million. And we only did it within 10 miles of our office, which tells you about the attitude of how hands-on you need to be. Like, we couldn't do it 30 miles from the office. We could only do it 10 miles from the office. We did about 100 loans. We made, on average, 15% on our money. We helped fix a lot of homes, put people to work. It was a good little business, but when we launched the 100-mile fund, then you got to deploy a lot of capital. I went back to the $2 to $10 million space, which some people do call small balance. You go speak to some guys with $20 billion under management, they think 2 to 10 is small balance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the 100-mile fund's bulk of its business is probably 3 to 15, but we are just relaunching our small balance program, and we brought in a specialist to do that. Our small balance is 500 to $1.5 million.
Okay. And what's the the geographic location? I mean, is it 100 miles? So what does that take you up to?
Our fund, look, after doing this for 35 years, I've realized I'm a whole lot smarter within 100 miles of my office than I am when you put me on a plane 5 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's natural for anyone. So we're not out to be the biggest. We'll do 150-ish to $200 million a year. But I'm able to provide my investors true, real hands-on approach to investing because within 100 miles, I can get to every asset within 2 hours.
Right.
Now, Billy, what is the area that 100 miles is?
We're 100 miles from the George Washington Bridge, so it's all in New Jersey, southern New York, into Long Island, of course. We're doing a lot in Philly, and we're permitted to go into Connecticut, but frankly, I haven't got much traction in Connecticut.
Okay.
But that'll be our next initiative is to get a guy in Connecticut with boots on the ground. And lending is a belly-to-belly business. It's not a computer business, particularly the opportunistic lending we do. You got to know your borrower. You got to use real estate.
Well, you said that this was a belly-to-belly business, but what do you think about crowdfunding and going through the internet in that way and to raise capital?
All right, crowdfunding came about as a result of the Jobs Act. And the Jobs Act, in some ways, was a good thing because, oddly enough, a private equity guy like me was not allowed to solicit investors at all. The only way I could raise money was I had to know you for 3 years or something like that. And you had to be accredited, and then I could discuss investing with you. Mm-hmm. That was prior to the Jobs Act. Under the Jobs Act, they permit private equity funds like us to advertise. Again, only to accredited investors. What the internet did was they, of course, grabbed onto that and created the word crowdfunding, which always need a hot buzzword. And you got, a million doctors, and you probably got, the sons of kings in Saudi Arabia, and you probably got, the sons of rich folks in Russia and China, etc. And you got retired doctors sitting in Phoenix, and everybody's looking for yield. So the crowdfunding sites are portals where guys that need money are connected with guys that have money, mm-hmm. and girls. The problem is that there is no advisor. When you come to us for a loan, the first thing you do is give me a check so I can hire a appraiser, a property condition engineer, environmental engineer, and a lawyer. And I do a credit check. Well, on the crowdfunding, if I'm a doctor sitting in Phoenix and I'm only investing $100,000 in a $10 million deal, I can't afford a consultant. And many of the crowdfunding deals I've seen don't have appraisals, don't have environmental, don't have a property condition report. And the portal makes very limited representation. So how does a guy or girl looking to invest $100,000 protect himself or herself, mm-hmm. Investing in a $10 million deal as one of another 100 guys or mm-hmm. girls? How do they perform due diligence? How do they do asset management after they make the investment? And the problem with the whole crowdfunding is that doesn't exist. So we've just registered crowdfunding advisors and a few other names, and we're going to start offering reviews almost like Angie's List and Shark Tank, only a little better, or a lot better, hopefully, where we will actually review deals that are on crowdfunding sites, and then you can click through to us and get our opinion of the deal. You can also click through to us, and we can help asset manage your investment if you're investing in one of these deals. So, like any industry in its infancy, there will be people that game it and take advantage of people, which I'm sure is happening, but I hope it doesn't get prolific because crowdfunding potentially is great for America, but if 10 old folks get ripped off and they're standing with Chuck Schumer, he's going to shut it down.
So you're saying that they don't have the same regulations as a private lender?
Well, they still have the security for their money.
Yeah, but
no, they don't have the resources. In other words, look, when you come in to borrow $10 million from us, standard procedure, you give us a check, we hire an appraiser, property condition, environmental engineer, specialty consultants if needed, if it's a hotel or if it's a golf course or whatever. And you hand us a check for $50,000, and we hire all our consultants, and we make our investment decision based on good input from third parties. But if you're only investing $100,000, you're not going to go spend $50,000 on third party consultants.
Right.
So you got to believe what's on the website. The only thing you have to base your opinion on is the website. And if you're smart, you'll Google the developer, you'll Google the property, you'll Google the neighborhood, but all that doesn't really give you everything. And plus, if you're a doctor, how do you know what you're really looking at?
Right.
Unless you're a savvy investor. But you got geographical issues. If you're in Phoenix, what do you really know about St. Louis? Unless you live there.
Right.
Right.
So the challenge with crowdfunding is, again, it's at its infancy. When anything is at its infancy, it gets gamed. And in fact, it gets gamed until the government realizes it's being gamed, right? So you take any fraud, insurance fraud. When a new regulation comes out, the first thing that happens is the scam artists come out and try to game it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, hopefully that won't become too prolific, and hopefully there'll be more folks like us that are going to come out and say, in the Northeast, you're looking at a deal on crowdfunding, we'll help you.
Well, you also are looking at protect the industry as well, because if crowdfunding gets a bad name, so doesn't private lenders, I would think.
Well, as I said, crowdfunding, I think, is great for America. It's great that you can get people off the sidelines that can't normally get into private equity funds like ours. It's great because we need a lot of capital to renovate our inner cities, which are where all the opportunities are. And those deals are more granular, are in the $250 to $500 million range, which the big private equity guys don't look at, the big banks don't look at. So, I've written extensively on the subject of how real estate could save America, which was an article published in Institutional Investor, about the basic concept of if you fix the inner cities, you put people to work, you reduce crime, you reduce the budget deficit eventually. So I don't want to see crowdfunding go away. I think it's a great thing. It's just got to get the proper controls around it.
So now when you say the inner cities, you're talking about going in and buying up a block of or 2 blocks of an area and funding that.
Well, it could be a house. It could be a 2-family house. It could be a block. But the point is, and I don't mean to get off on a tangent, but if you look at what is after the Army and foreign aid, what's our biggest expense? It's the inner cities. It's poverty. It's prisons. It's fighting crime, and it's taxes in those areas. So if you are looking at our deficit, you go, okay, well, how do we fix that? I did it in the South Bronx, where 20 years ago, where I built almost $1 billion worth of housing. The crime rates have gone down 75%. The tax revenues have gone up 250%. Property values have gone up 350%. High school graduation rates have tripled. And when crime goes down and taxes go up, tax revenue goes up, you reduce the deficit. Now, in the inner cities, these tend to be more granular, smaller deals, which are perfect for crowdfunding.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't want to see is unscrupulous real estate guys ripping off, retired folks, sitting in Florida or in Phoenix.
Right.
Because then the government will shut down what could be a very good thing for both sides. The investor could see higher returns with more control of his or her investment, and people who don't have access to private high net worth investors will get the access. So all in all, crowdfunding is a good idea. It's just because it's at its infancy, nobody's identified its potential problems yet. Problems are always that people learn to game it. And when I mean game it, that's kind of a nice word for saying rip people off.
Right.
And as long as the industry gets ahead of that problem, I think it's a great thing.
So, Billy, when do you think your crowdfunding advisors will be up and running?
We're in talks now, and if it does happen, it'll be early next year.
All right. We look forward to seeing that platform. I have a question. I know that you've have a lot of history in construction. That's where your roots come from. How does being in construction and investment, does that allow you to take over more development projects?
Well, first off, we're a value add lender, and I say value add in a lot of ways. We help our borrowers, whatever their weak spot is, we've got some way to fill it. So if they're good at building and not good at marketing, we'll fill that void. If they're good at marketing and not good at building, we'll fill that void. But what most people don't get about real estate value add is there's only one variable: construction.
Mm-hmm.
So after you buy a property, the only way you can screw it up is going over budget, behind schedule, underestimating it, or not delivering it at the appropriate level of quality. So, I kind of laugh, all these fancy guys who sit behind computers and sit with lawyers. To me, real estate's about sitting with contractors, subcontractors, architects, real estate brokers, planning boards, city administrators. That's real estate. Sitting upstairs with lawyers all day is not real estate. And sitting in front of computer screens building models is not real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I always start my speeches when I give speeches around the country at all these events, is I say, take the computer and throw it in the garbage. and frankly, half the reports you can throw in the garbage because the day after you close, they're all obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
Buildings are living, breathing things. I always say they're like children, and like my children, they never listen to you. They never do what you tell them to, but when they always cost you a fortune.
Right.
So we pride ourselves on the fact that, at the end of the day, I'm still a contractor. I've been a developer, I've been an investment banker, and I've been a fund manager and lender. At the end of the day, I think why our fund has been so successful and why I've lasted for 35 years without defaults or problems is it's all about the construction. Because value is an important item, but remember, you don't know value until you deliver a finished product and somebody can bid on it. So if you don't finish it, it really doesn't matter what it's worth, does it?
Right. Well, Billy, we really appreciate you coming on and taking the time to join us and to tell us a little bit more about Procida Funding, and we look forward to seeing your SBRE Investment Summit out in Washington. How does someone go about getting more information about what you do and to learn more information about Procida?
Procida.com, which is Procida.com, has got pretty much my life story, every deal we've done since 1980. And, so it's been 35 years, and I think we've done some good stuff, but I look forward to doing more good stuff.
Fantastic. And next year, you do celebrate your 20th anniversary, so congratulations on that as well.
Yeah, next year I'll have, this is my second term. My first business was with my brother and my sister and my little brother, which was the Procida organization, which grew from our kitchen table to over 100 people and was in New York City and developed a year and won the name award. And this firm I started on my kitchen table in 1995, and thank God I made it 20 years.
Well, congratulations. And thanks again for joining us, and have a great week.
Thank you. You too.
And that was Billy Procida, who is the founder and president of Procida Funding and Advisors, who joined us to talk about crowdfunding, small balance investment, and construction as well. And another great show, a lot of information, Rick.
A lot. Man, and, like I said in past shows, this would be perfect for him to come to our NEREJ and NYREJ Cocktails and Conversations event.
Right.
November 19th in Hartford, Connecticut.
Yeah, especially if he wants to get boots on the ground. He can meet somebody there.
For more Connecticut.
Well, we'll have to give him a shout out after we get back to the office.
Right. So you can just email me for more information.
At radio at nyrej.com. And Rick will get
turn it into a promotion.
Yeah, you're always getting your plugs in, Rick. We appreciate it. It's kind of like your hairpiece.
Obviously, there's nothing there.
Right, but this interview with Billy Procida of Procida Funding was brought to you by the New York Real Estate Journal, bringing together commercial real estate for over 25 years. Find us at nyrej.com. For more information, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, email us at radio@nyrej.com or call us at 800-654-4993. Again, that's email at radio@nyrej.com or give us a call at 800-654-4993.